how this client went from living with her family to not having a job. Her credit score tanked down. COVID is her story that she said ruined everything she had. And the thing that she wanted felt impossible and far away, but she made it happen. After one session, we just changed a few things of what she was thinking about. And now I got her success story, and I'm going to share it with you in this video that it does not matter what you see in your life and what you think is there, that all things are possible with God no matter what. Welcome, my name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you know what to do. Go to RoseyLife.com, and you can join the Rosey Life course and community, where I show up live every week to answer your questions live. And then there's some coursework in there for you, those of you who are newer to the law and you want to really start going within and deciding what is it that you want, right? And maybe you don't know, but this is what that coursework does. It helps you go within, and it's optional coursework, or you can just be part of the community for support and when I show up for lives. And you have so many wonderful people, and that community keeps growing, and I love it so much. All right, so I love this story because I believe I just saw this client, it's a new client, and I only did one session with her, and it was about a month ago, I believe. And it couldn't have been much longer. And so she came to me, and this person was in tears. And she asked me to share the story with y'all, by the way. This person was in tears, and she was so angry, so upset. She understands the law, and she said, but she just was so mad and frustrated about losing her job and the whole COVID thing with the vaccination. And she just like, it didn't feel right for me, and all of these things. And she just felt like everyone was against her. She lost her job, her credit score tanked, and she ended up having to move in with her parents, I believe, and in a city that she doesn't even want to live in. And she's like, Rose, what do I do? Because I don't want to live here. I don't want to go get a job here. This isn't even where I want to be. I don't want to live here. I just don't like anything in my life. This was her story. Okay. So let's get started. By the way, someone gave me a good idea. They said, can you hold up the wise board so we can screenshot it? And I'm going to do that from now on so you guys can do it. So here's the first one. Okay, so I can't believe it. She said that was her at the beginning of her email. I can't believe it because after what she came to me with, okay, this is what her circumstances were. COVID nightmare. That was like the headliner of her movie. Okay, the COVID nightmare. And she had lost her job. Her debt increased. Her credit score tanked. She wasn't even able to get a place of her own. Okay, she's in tears, frustrated, and she's mad and felt like everyone was against her, especially out where she worked previously, and that no one was on her side, and that no matter what, she just was screwed. Right? She was living with family, and her question is like, how is this ever going to change? How? Just like a lot of you, right? And just like that's you guys. Sometimes I ask them just like how, and I'm like, doesn't matter. I don't have to know how. It just is. Do you see? But what was her desire? Her desire was, I want to live by the water and snorkel. Okay. And she says, and specifically, she wanted to be in Key West. And she said, I want a job I love, and I'm free. I feel free. I feel like I'm at home at my job, like I'm accepted and I'm working with like-minded people, and where I'm not just like put down for what I believe. And she said, and to have her own place, she was just really wanting to feel settled in. Her stuff was in storage in another state, and she was living in another state, and she wanted to be living in a third state. Do you see? She was like, she felt so disconnected. Everything was just all over the place. And she's like, I don't even know what to do, Rose. I don't even know what to think. where do I start with? Should I start with the credit score? I mean, how's that even going to happen if I don't have a good credit score? Do you see she was really stuck in all the details of how? And so in our session, I said, drop that old COVID story. I said, you're blaming everything on COVID, everything, your unhappiness, your job loss, like everything. You have this really like COVID story memory, and you just keep repeating it. And so what was her action? And this is what she shared with me. She says, I really didn't do much. This is all I did. You guys, because we don't have to do much. It is very simple. It's focusing on what you want, and focus and faith. It's, for me, they're so similar, right? If you don't like to use the word faith, use the word focus. It doesn't mean she didn't hammer this all day long. This is what she did. She would say, I love my place in the Keys. It's perfect and everything worked out. And she said, and if a credit score issue would come up, she's like, well, how are you going to get it if you have a low credit score? How are you going to do it if you're living here, your stuff's over there, and you want to go over there? She said she would just go back to remember it doesn't matter. It's going to work out. That was all she did. Okay. And now she says, I'm moving in 2 weeks. And guess what? There was no mention of a credit score. And she said she's moving into a 2 bedroom and place in the Keys, and that water is on three. She's surrounded by water, so there's water on three different sides of her. Snorkeling and paddleboarding and all that is included of where she lives. She got exactly what she wanted, exactly what she wanted. And she's so happy. She said, I just can't believe it. But of course, she didn't have to believe it. Do you see? She just changed what she kept repeating. She changed what she kept telling herself and others. She dropped the COVID nightmare. Okay, so this client, she kept focusing on what she did not like. She was focusing on others, on how they were treating her and how they were talking to her, and they weren't even in her life anymore, but yet in her mind she kept repeating the dialogues of what they said to her, and it would just put her down further. Do you see? She would focus on the problems, the credit score, the move, my stuff's there, I want to be there, but my parents. And do you see, she was focusing on all the details, on all the how, and then she'd just get sucked into it, and she would just feel awful. So here is what I want to share with you. Okay, I know many of you, most of you watch Netflix, right? And when you turn Netflix on, you see you see at the top is your personal icon. Okay, it's you. So from when I log into Netflix, it says Rose, and my son put his silly name on there one day. It just said some magic unicorn instead of my name. So there's a little picture of a unicorn, and it says some magic unicorn. Anyway, I know I said that, but anyway, that's you. And the options of Netflix, right? There are so many movies that you can just scroll through to see which one you want. Well, she was watching a scary movie. She had selected a scary movie. How did she select it? Because she keeps saying it, repeating it, and thinking that she's stuck in the movie and that this movie never ends. And she's like, gosh, damn, does this movie have an ending already? These characters are getting even more brutal. Everything is just like looking impossible. Does this story have a good ending? Absolutely not, because it's a scary movie. So that's what I shared with her. I said, change the movie, change your story. So she changed the movie to her living in the Keys despite conditions. Do you see? It's like she's living in her mom and dad's house. Her stuff is in another state. She doesn't have a job. She has low credit score, and she's over here thinking about living in at the water in the Keys, having a pina colada at the beach. Do you see? Some people will say, well, that's delusional. How's that going to happen? It's not going to happen. She went ahead and let herself choose that new movie. And she says, you know what? No, I know that all I have to do is change this story. I have to just focus on whatever it is that I want, and know in faith that that is a genuinely possibility. If I can think it, then it has to be possible in order for me to even think it. Otherwise, it would be a big tease of the universe to let you think and dream and desire stuff, but you never get it. Do you see? We allow ourselves to say, you know what? It's possible for me. It's totally possible for me. So I'm going to go ahead and start deciding and declaring this is who I am. In other words, she like backed out of the scary movie, scrolled through Netflix and decided to watch a new movie, the one where she's watching herself at the beach, living in her new place, snorkeling, paddling, having fun. Do you see? Well, in that movie, that also includes, guess what? She didn't even have to, somebody else is going to move her stuff from the other state for her. She doesn't even have to do that. That was also just done for her. And so, and she's super happy. She's super happy that she's moving to a place, a state where they are like minded with her about like the vaccine. She's like, everything is exactly how I wanted it, Rose. So, but what happens when we decide and assume or visualize and watch a new movie? What happens when we do that? We're like, this is what happens. You begin to doubt. You're watching the movie and then you look away from the movie and you're just like, but it's not here. But where is it? But I've been doing this. Somebody commented yesterday, I said, I've been affirming for 3 days and nothing's happening. And my response was, I'm sorry, did you get a memo from the universe saying that one, you have to affirm all day, and two, that that if it takes this long, then it's not going to happen? There is no memo, you guys. It's you making up these rules. It's you saying it's not there. It's you saying it's been X amount of time, so it's not going to happen. It's you being afraid. The bottom line of all fears is that you're afraid you will not get what you want, and we're going to get into that in a second. But what here, when you move into a new assumption, when you start changing the movie that you're watching, okay, what happens? This is what happens. And this is a quote from Piglet that I remember from when my son was like 2 years old, and he used to play a little computer Winnie the Pooh game with him. And I loved it. One time, Piglet said to Winnie the Pooh, he said, it's exactly the same, only different. And that's what Piglet said to Pooh. And that's what made me think of this, that when you assume something new, you affirm something new, everything looks exactly the same, but it's not. It's different because you're now in a new reality. But if you look out at your life at 3D and you say it looks the same, nothing's changed. It's not out there that changes. It's you that's different. It's you that's changed within, because now you've made a decision, an assumption, a choice to be a different version, to be a different. And that's what she did. She said, no, I love my place in the Keys. Now that's the different. The outside didn't change immediately, but she changed immediately. And when you change immediately within, that's when you start seeing the effects outside. And everybody's like, well, how long? Well, how long? I've been doing this for 2 days, 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Do you see? You now you get caught up in the how long and asking questions and seeking. Now you're watching the scary movie again. You're watching the scary movie of time. In fact, that's a nightmare. That's a horror film. The movie of time, right? Now you're looking at it, watching that movie, pretending that you have made the change within, and then but you're still watching, and that's part of the movie of time, is that you're telling yourself that you are in that new reality that you are assuming, but you might be, but you're really focused on time. So that's your time horror movie. Change the movie. Change the movie to, no, I always get what I want. My wishes are fulfilled. You see, that's why Neville Goddard talked about wish fulfilled all the time, because it is fulfilled. Watch the movie of my wish fulfilled. Do you see? So you become worried or hurried to make it happen. That's what happens. You move into that new assumption, and then you become hurried and worried that it's not going to happen when you don't see anything different. Remember, it's exactly the same, only it's different. Do you see? And you get to decide what everything means. Everything. You get to decide, you're like, no, I know it looks the same, but it's not. I know it's not, because this 3D does what I tell it to. The 3D is within me. It's not out here. It's doing what I tell it to do always. So I really like this book that I found by Gardner Hunting, and he talked about he this quote is so good, the chapter is about waiting, and he says, "Hurry is always the expression of fear. To be late, miss something, defeat, fear, to be defeated or humiliated. It befogs thought." In other words, he's saying, and the book is called Working with God, by the way, but he's saying hurry is always the expression of fear. So what happens again? We assume something, and then we don't see it happen immediately or instantly or however long, and you've been telling yourself that you've been manifesting and affirming something, right? And then you're just like, now you become hurried. Now you get desperate and you start watching more videos, more books, you add on more affirmations, you change your technique, you change your affirmations, you like coach hop, you do what you're like, maybe this person has a better trick, maybe this person has a better idea. What's a trick? What's a tip? Any tips? These are the kind of questions that I read in the comments. Any tips? Any tips and techniques and trips on how to get what I want, how to turn it around, how to stop, or how to get out of the red zone trigger zone. I'm like, what is it? Where are you guys getting this stuff from? Right? It's like, what's the red zone trigger zone? I'm like, do you see? That's all hurry. That red zone trigger zone and all that is coming from you feeling hurried. Hurry is always the expression of fear. Fear of what? Fear that you're not going to get what you want. Fear that you did something wrong. Your fear that you're too late. You see, your fear that you're missing something, that you're going to be defeated, that you're going to lose, and that you're going to be humiliated and look silly for even thinking that you could have this. Do you see? So this is what hurry does, because we're so conditioned to take charge and make it happen. And I'm going to take matters into my own hands. And I'm going to do. Do you see? This is all coming from that 3D personality or your ego thinking that it's in charge and you have to make matters happen, and that this waiting is BS and you don't got time for that. You got bills to pay, deadlines, all of these comments that you guys make or worry. It's all fear that you won't get what you want. It's fear that if you watch a Netflix and chill, and I know there's another meaning for that. Don't get me started. All right. I know that if you don't watch, you think that if you just sit down and watch your Netflix and sit back and watch your new movie, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to take action. That doesn't mean that you're not going to be inspired to do things. It is. Remember the assumption, right? If you haven't watched that video, look for the thumbnail with a little train on it. I did it on purpose so it'd be easy to find. But the assumption, you choose the assumption, you choose your wish fulfilled, and then the thoughts, feelings, and inspired actions come after that. So, and then he further says to wait is speed. What is speed? Then I'm going to show this one here too. To wait is speed. He says, what is speed? God. You think that you can hurry things along yourself? You think you can hit the gas with more affirmations to trick your brain, to reprogram your brain, to trick yourself into thinking that you have it? You think that you can speed it up by taking action because you're afraid, because you're in a hurry? You think that you can make it happen faster? There is nothing faster than God. Nothing. And to wait is speed, and speed is God. And waiting, by the way, is to bind together. And I talked about this in another video already, but the definition of waiting metaphysically is to bind together. And what are you binding together? Is remembering that you are one with God, that there is only one, and that there's only that unity between you and God, that you and your desires are one. So assume it, visualize it, script it, whatever you want. But that's just to put you into that place of knowing that you have what you want, of seeing it, of tasting it, of watching the movie of what it is that you want. Tell yourself the new story, just affirm it, assume it however you want to. There's no right or wrong amount of times that you do this. You do it just to feel good, because the fact is it's already yours. You're just putting yourself in that position of claiming it, that it is yours right now. So if you find yourself watching a horror movie or a scary movie in your 3D, chill back, okay? Pick another movie, start declaring this is my movie, and you do that as many times as you want to. You don't have to. Those are just to remind you that it's who you are now. You don't have to do anything, but it's just to help remind you this is who I am, no matter what I see, no matter how scary it looks. And if it looks exactly the same, it's not, it's different. Remember, Piglet, it's exactly the same, only different. All right, my loves, thank you so much for liking the video and subscribing to The Rosey Life. And thank you guys for your love and your support. I love reading your comments and receiving all your success stories. And I just love you guys so much. And I'm just so happy to read your comments and that you're enjoying The Rosey Life and enjoying the videos. And I appreciate all of you so, so much because you truly all of you are freaking amazing. And I will see you soon. All right.